It looks like we didn't bear it all last time. So we're back with more We Bear Bears. 2 seasons of the show have come and gone since our last video, so a lot more has been revealed about your favorite brotherly bears. Hi, I'm Hayley with channel Frederator. Don't go into hibernation yet. It's time to dish out 107 more facts about We Bear Bears. Let's get started. As we mentioned in our first 107, the show originated from creator Daniel Chong's comic strip, 3 Bear Bears. Initially, it was pitched with the same title, but it had trouble passing Cartoon Network's legal department due to pre-existing copyrights. That's why the title changed to what we know and love today, We Bear Bears. But before getting there, a few other titles were thrown around. Yo Bear Bears was one of them. It's not the worst, but it just doesn't have the same ring, you know? Lately, it seems like it's the age of serialized cartoons. Just look at Steven Universe, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and Gravity Falls, to name a few. Well, We Bear Bears stands out because it's episodic. This decision was inspired by cartoons from Chong's childhood. Still, some serialization does occur on the show, primarily through character arcs and growth. Take Nom Nom, for instance. As the series progresses, he becomes nicer to the bears. He's not the only one to go through a change, though. Have you noticed any other character arcs? When Chong first pitched the show, he didn't plan for any character development whatsoever. But as he and his team began writing, things started to naturally evolve, which kept the crew interested in the project. That said, the Baby Bear storyline is the closest to a serialized plot we will probably get in the show. Why do it at all? The team wanted to tell a specific story about each of the bears' journey and explain how they came together as a family. Chong believes that We Bear Bears sets itself apart from other comedy series because there's an emphasis on storytelling within the episode and portraying the emotional side of the main cast. While the characters might not always do the right thing, their motivations and behavior feel honest and real. Various characters featured in the show are loosely based on people that Chong knows. For example, Nom Nom is based on his girlfriend's experience in the publishing world. She poured her energy into a blog and book, which she worked hard to spread the word for. But then she noticed how effortlessly cute animals could become viral and felt like it didn't matter how much work goes into something. While we don't 100% agree with that notion, we totally understand the struggle. Look at that cute puppy! Another real-life parallel is how Panda's peanut allergy stems from Chong's own nut allergy. They do say write what you know after all. The writers and story artists take great care to keep the bears' personalities consistent, even surprising Chong himself with gags and bits that relate to past episodes. Speaking of writers, Chong and his team of writers and storyboarders spent a lot of time developing episodes. This occasionally caused them to turn them in late during the first 2 seasons of the show. Better safe than sorry. Chong mentioned that around the end of season 2, the crew was a bit worn out and had trouble coming up with ideas. The episode, Grizz Helps, came about from a series of quick sketches and ideas, hence why it's a little weird. Chong's words, not ours. The inconsistency between the 2 appearances of Captain Krabu occurred because, while storyboarding him, his ending changed. They realized that meant the character was still around, so they should probably use him again in another episode. However, they had to now explain his absence, since many episodes occurred in between. So that's why in the episode, Emergency, he's presented as the bear's pet. But in Captain Krabu, the bears have no idea that he's around and are surprised to see him. The crew tries to avoid writing directly towards a specific demographic or age group. Chong wants We Bear Bears to cross the barrier between children and adults so that all ages can respond to it. Chong also hoped to keep the integrity and easygoing nature of the comic, narratively and visually, within the show. Sure, they might be in different mediums, but it is possible. We like to think he succeeded. If you were wondering why the bears are treated poorly by humans at times, especially without any motivation from the bears, it's because it's meant to convey how some minorities, such as Asian Americans like Chong, are discriminated against in the real world. Baby bear-centric episodes find the brothers traveling all over various countries. These episodes allowed the crew to get the bears outside of San Francisco, where the bulk of the episodes take place. Not to mention that it lends itself to the theme we just mentioned. The bears literally are immigrants. Why is most of the series set in San Francisco? Simple. It's because the show is heavily involved in tech culture. Tech culture to relate to humanity with, but it can also isolate them from others at the same time. Another reason is that Chong actually lived in the Bay Area for a while. Chong and his team hope that the show will demonstrate how we can become better both individually and as a group. After all, the bears are pretty good role models. I want to be like them. Since we keep mentioning them, how about a bit about the talented crew? First, we have writer Mikey Heller. He was working on his webcomic, Time Travel, before becoming part of the We Bare Bears team. The second writer on the show was Spencer Porter. He also worked on Family Guy and American Dad, and he wrote for We Bare Bears for the first 2 seasons. After season 2, he was replaced by Chrissy Corzetz, who has also since left the show staff. Lauren Sasson was the writer and storyboarder for Yuri and the Bear. Lauren's first episode as storyboarder was Brother Up in season 1. She actually started with the show as a revisionist in season 1, then got promoted to a storyboard artist, and is now currently the creative director of We Bare Bears. You might also recognize her name from Robot Chicken and Nickelodeon's WWE Slam City. Meanwhile, storyboard artist Guillermo Martinez also worked for Laika on Kubo and the Two Strings, and he is currently head of story at Sony Pictures Animation. Good to have a man like that on your side. And apparently, Kyler Spears, another storyboard artist on the show, pitches scenarios where the bears visit a furry convention quite often. According to Chong, it's not clear if he's saying it in jest or not. While a furry convention episode may not happen, several storyboard artists did have a different cultural influence for the show. Pandas love anime. The storyboard artists grew up with lots of Japanese animation, didn't we all? And so they convinced Chong to lend that train to Panda. Sugoi! You can thank Tom Law for storyboarding the adorable intro to We Bare Bears. He even posted a GIF version of it on his blog for fans to check out. You'll notice that the bears, except for Ice Bear, are colored in the storyboard. Well, this is done on every storyboard to help tell the brothers apart. We can't forget to mention Tony Pullum, the art director for the show. He went far and beyond and actually created digital brushes that mimic the natural watercolor look for the show's background. The design and style for the series was meant to feel very friendly and sweet. To do this, the characters did not have sharp edges so that they appear squishy and huggable. We'd love to hug all the bears. I wonder which one would be the softest. Probably Ice Bear. Like many other shows, the animation for the series is completed overseas. In this case, it's done by a studio called Rough Draft Korea, located in Seoul, South Korea. We've mentioned them before in a few of our other 107s. They do a lot of animation. Over time, some things change in the design to help the animators do their job. For example, Panda used to have a little keychain on his phone, but after the 3rd episode, it was dropped, since animating it for every episode was a bit too tedious to maintain. Another example is Chloe. When we first met her, she has rosy cheeks and white highlights in her hair. Those details were eventually dropped because they were too distracting and took up too much time. And sometimes mistakes happen. During Yard Sale, there's a small continuity error when Panda takes Paul's phone out for a spin and takes a selfie with his brothers. While taking the photo, Ice Bear's head was tilted to the right, but when the photo was shown, Ice Bear is standing completely straight. Maybe the phone had its own autocorrect function for poses? Occasionally, cuts have to happen. 2 episodes that Chong mentions had significant cuts are The Island and Losing Ice. The Island lost some key bonding scenes with the people on the island. Losing Ice had to lose a scene with Grizz and Panda failing to cook for themselves. It also lost a few other moments. Hope those clips pop up online one day. Chloe was supposed to bookend the hibernation episode by explaining hibernation to Grizz, only to check in on him at the end, but this was cut for length. When it comes to voice acting, it's not always that easy to find the right voice. Ice Bear was the hardest bear to find the perfect match for, but luckily, Dimitri Martin was able to pinpoint just the right voice for Ice Bear. Since Ice Bear's lines are so short, Martin records up to 3 episodes for every recording session. During the session, he also does a little improv, and many of those lines make it into actual episodes. Early on, Nom Nom was supposed to be voiced by Ken Jeong. There's even animatic footage of him reading Nom Nom's lines, but in the end, Patton Oswalt grabbed the role. Charlie was also originally supposed to be voiced by a different person from Jason Lee. Initially, Tom Arnold could have been the voice of the bumbling Bigfoot. One of the newer characters, Ranger Tabes, is voiced by Cameron Esposito, who is known primarily for her stand-up, but she did do some VO work for Adventure Time. And if you're wondering just who Ranger Tabes is, she's a ranger, duh, who loves a good mystery and always helps the bears out in a pinch. She first appears in Ranger Tapes. Another semi-recurring character is Lucy. Her perky voice is none other than Ellie Kemper, star of the hit Netflix show Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. But it's not just secondary characters that get great talent behind them. We Bare Bears has attracted a number of prominent guest stars. For example, Charlie Ball brought in NBA stars Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, and Paul George. The episode The Fair snagged noted musician parodist Weird Al Yankovic as a carny with sinister motives. The episode Nom Nom's Entourage had Bo Burnham as a guest. The whole We Bare Bears crew went to see a show by him, which led them to asking him to do a voice for them one day. And guess what? He nailed it! A number of the side characters are voiced by veteran voice artists Keith Ferguson and Eddie Patterson. John calls them his go-to guys. There are actually 2 storyboard artists on the show who are SAG certified and provide a few voices, Kyler Spears and Burt Young. And if you pay close attention, you might notice that the Bears give their voice to a few side characters as well. In Fashion Bears, Grizz is mistaken for a business bear while wearing a suit. He eventually works for a company that has a very similar office to the 1999 film Office Space. The kicker? Grizz's boss was voiced by Gary Cole, who portrayed the boss in Office Space, Bill Lumberg. The Office Space isn't the only reference We Bare Bears makes. It's full of Easter eggs and references alike. Here are some of them. In Nom Nom's Entourage, there's a boy outside the club who resembles Fry from Futurama. In Ranger Tapes, the Bears end up at a police station. There, you should be able to spot a familiar-looking man. It's Apollo Justice from Ace Attorney, or at least it looks a lot like him. If you didn't catch it, there's also a wanted poster in the station featuring Ice Bear. Who knew Ice Bear would be an outlaw? In Losing Ice, Daryl, the human Grizz and Panda hired as a replacement brother, looks over the menu at Tappanyaki and asks, why did they name this beef after a basketball player? This is a reference to Kobe beef, a popular delicacy in Japan, and to Kobe Bryant, an all-star basketball player that was part of the Los Angeles Lakers. During the Bears' Sugar Rush experience in the library, they see students walking by in slow motion. One of the students has a hat with a pine tree on it. That's very similar to the hat worn by Dipper Pines in Gravity Falls. And when Panda turns on a computer in the same episode, he's greeted by the familiar Windows startup sound. But the operating system is called Doors instead. Did you guys notice how it's the 95 version? A version of Amazon.com makes an appearance in the We Bare Bears world, and it's known as the Glamazon app. Panda is actually a Glamazon Dime member, a spoof of Amazon Prime. We get another glimpse into this alternate internet reality with the Bears version of Google. When they need to find something on the net, they head on over to Googs. The video game that Chloe and the Bears play during Slumber Party looks very similar to the Bumper Ball minigame featured in Mario Party. We Bare Bears also spoofs films from time to time. It honored Snakes on the Plane by naming one of the Baby Bears episode Baby Bears on a Plane. During one scene, Panda crawls under the passenger seats to navigate around the cabin. This action is reminiscent of Die Hard when John McClane has to crawl through ventilation shafts. In a fantastic episode called Icy Nights, we follow Ice Bear as he attempts to reclaim his Roomba from men who stole it. While tracking down the men, he runs into people from his past and asks for help. If you haven't picked up on it, the episode slightly parodies 2014's John Wick. The similarities to action and thriller flicks don't stop there. The title card for Icy Nights, as well as some stylistic choices throughout the episode, are an homage to Drive and other Nicholas Winding Refn films. And while Ice Bear is in the arena during this episode, the announcer yells out, "Fatality!" when a competitor wins a match. This is a nod to none other than the major video game series Mortal Kombat. John, Chloe's cousin, tells the Bears, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animals," in Christmas parties. Viewers who grew up in the 90s will recognize this line, as it was likely repeated in their household over and over after they watched Home Alone 2. We learn in Coffee Cave that a caffeinated Ice Bear is the stuff of nightmares. At one point, Ice Bear crawls along the ceiling and turns his head 180 degrees while holding an axe in his mouth. This is a reference to a similar moment in The Exorcist. Grizz, desperate to get the beans away from Ice Bear, locks himself in the bathroom, but Ice Bear begins to hack at the door with his axe. This is a tribute to the iconic scene in The Shining. Here's Ice Bear! The opening and ending credits for The Demon are a direct reference to My Neighbor Totoro. As we mentioned earlier, the crew loves to celebrate their artistic roots, and this is a gorgeous example of it. Within that episode, episode, the shot where Chloe and Ice Bear look over her fence at the neighbor's yard is a reference to the 90s movie The Sandlot. The demon itself is a nod to the beast in the film, but it doesn't stop there. There's another reference in the demon, when Ice Bear and Chloe take refuge in the kitchen. The way the dog searches the kitchen echoes the raptor scene in Jurassic Park. During Bear Cleanse, Grizz discovers that Panda is secretly eating chocolate cake in the shack. In the scenes that follow this, the camera zooms to Grizz's eyes and Panda's cake back and forth. If the scene in the background sounds familiar, because it's very similar to the siren featured in Kill Bill whenever the bride saw one of her enemies. And where would we be without Harry Potter Easter eggs? Well, in Summer Love, Pier 49 3/4 is a clear callback to the fantastical Platform 9 3/4. We don't just get visual references. The opening and closing music of Yuri and the Bear is an homage to the score of Fargo, composed by Carter Burwell. Here's a couple of cool facts about Yummy Yummy, the song Panda sings in the short Panda's Dream. Chong's girlfriend wrote the Korean lyrics for the melody that Brad Breek composed. Before she wrote the words, the melody was accompanied by gibberish. That same song was inspired by Girls' Generation's Paparazzi, and the dance moves were inspired by a number of various K-pop bands such as Orange Caramel, SHINee, and Super Junior. In Everyone's Tube, an unknown user searches Everyone's Tube for a good music video and ends up watching Forever My Heart by Panda. This song heavily references Boyz II Men's jam, I'll Make Love to You. Later in the episode, we see a video of Ice Bear and Chloe singing a duet and playing piano together. This song was written by Chloe's voice actress, Charlene Yee. This marks the first time in the series that Chloe sings. Originally, Yee submitted a different song for the episode, but Chong and the team found that it was too somber. Louis Zahn, the storyboarder for the episode, had to change the entire sequence when they went with a cheerier song, meaning a board for the first version exists out there. Chong would have preferred to air the original song, but knew that the newer song was the better fit for the episode. Apparently, he's keeping it on the shelf waiting and hopes to find a spot for it in a future episode. The only talking creatures are the bears, Nom Nom, and Charlie, but the show has portrayed other animals as having some anthropomorphic tendencies. For example, in Our Stuff, the bears stumble upon a flock of pigeons rocking wool hats and moving around clearly stolen goods. I knew pigeons were breadcrumb thieves. In Food Truck, the creatures of the forest acquire access to money to buy the calzones that Ice Bear makes, which means they know all about supply and demand. My dog still hasn't even wrapped his head around the command sit. In Brother Up, Charlie mentions that the animals are gossiping about a rumble between the bears and a pack of wolves. The wolves even throw a brick through their window. Yikes. In our last 107, we only speculated what Chloe's age was. Well, during the events of Bear Flu, we finally received confirmation that the child prodigy is 10 years old. The college that Chloe attends is directly based on UC Berkeley, even though the show doesn't show or say the name. She's definitely a smart cookie. If he was stuck on an island, Chong would prefer to have Ice Bear with him. With his array of talents, he believes that Ice Bear would probably get them off the island by building a boat or even a house to live comfortably in. Ice Bear seems like the perfect handyman, or handy bear for that matter. Ice Bear is the only bear of the bunch to have a driver's license, and he has to drive his brothers and Chloe to the meteor shower during the episode Road Trip. Ice Bear's overall personality is a combination of Snoopy, Gromit, Abed from Community, and Daniel Chong himself. Panda's love of Japanese, Korean, and Taiwanese culture may in part be a reflection of his specific species as a panda, but they're sort of seen as the Asian bear across the globe. Grizz loves action movies, so much so that he even made 2 DIY action films with his kick-ass alter ego, Crowbar Jones. Louis Zong once speculated what Hogwarts house the bears would be sorted in. Grizz would be Gryffindor, Panda would be Hufflepuff, and Ice Bear would be Ravenclaw. He mentioned that Chloe could either be in Ravenclaw or Gryffindor. What do you guys think? In Panda Friend, we learned that the bears have human counterparts, Tom for Panda, Isaac for Ice Bear, and a third character for Grizz. According to Chong, his name is Griff, and he'll be in future episodes. Looking forward to it! On August 18th, 2017, Chong posted a picture on his Twitter of the bears as mascots at a Doosan Bears baseball game in Korea. It'd be pretty cool to see them at a Chicago Cubs game at some point. A few days after Selly aired, in which selfie sticks were a thing, Chong tweeted out a photo of We Bare Bears themed selfie sticks. I think I'm more of a Grizz, but everyone keeps telling me to get Panda. Not sure what that means. During the episode Private Lake, Panda uploads a photo with these coordinates. If you input these coordinates in the real world, it's right outside Cartoon Network Animation Studios. Cartoon Network and Nintendo partnered up to produce a commercial to advertise the Nintendo Switch and the ARMS video game. Ice Bear is naturally an excellent player. We Bear Bears also did a commercial advertising Splatoon 2. In it, Nom Nom is a sore loser, and one particular bear decides Splatoon should be a real-world thing. The Cartoon Network website has a few flash games based on We Bear Bears. One game is called Feathered Chase, an on-rails side-scroller in which you have to catch the bear's backpack from some pigeons. Another game, Basketball, plays quite similarly to NBA Jam or Hang Time. This game, of course, is based on the bear's love of basketball. Cartoon Network also released a game called Stir Fry Stunts. It's based on the episode Losing Ice and was launched 5 weeks before it was due to air. While Chong doesn't really play video games, he has said that he and his crew would love to see the bears in three-dimensional form at some point. Here's hoping that we'll be able to play a full-fledged game starring our favorite bears one day soon. The bears are featured in a few different books out right now. One is a Mad Libs book that features stories about the bears for you to fill out. Who doesn't blank a blank Mad Libs? Another book is titled Bears Awesome at Everything. This book has facts about the bears straight from the gang themselves. So if you want more information about the Cuddly Trio, you know where to look. On October 4th, 2016, Cartoon Network released Viral Video, a 12-episode DVD collection. It's 132 minutes of great bear content. We Bear Bears was nominated for an Annie Award in 2016 for the Outstanding Achievement in Storyboarding for an Animated TV Broadcast Production. Unfortunately, it didn't win. The prize went to the Mickey Mouse short, Feliz Cumpleaños. But We Bear Bears did take home the International Award at 2016 BAFTA Children's Awards. Woo! And the show won a few awards in 2017. It won Kidscreen Awards for Best Animated Series and Writing, and an International Trick Film Festival Stuttgart Award for Best Children's Animation Series. Totally earned it. As of this video, Cartoon Network has not announced if the show will be back for Season 4. Make sure to watch all the episodes you can and show them you want more. Time for a rerun marathon. Once again, I'm Hayley, and thanks for watching 107 More Facts About We Bear Bears. Who's your favorite bear? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to click the bell icon to become part of the notification squad. We have videos dropping every day, so make sure to subscribe to Channel Frederator, your cartoon central on the internet.